It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Hello guys, thanks everyone for coming. We're just going to do a quick presentation, quick slideshow for all the stakeholders. This is the Fun Fact Tuesday statistical analysis. So we've been doing this for about 4 or 5 months now, and today is literally, it's just going to be going through, showing everybody what we've learned. Right, next slide please. So, who am I? My name is Terry Ventry. My pronouns are he, him. I am the main researcher, the head analyst and the founder of Fun Fact Tuesdays. Credentials don't really matter in this field, but I have a Masters in Engineering, EDD, Doctor of Optometry, that's DO. I'm a fellow of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers and IGCP. And if anyone falls asleep in this because they're too bored, I'm a registered nurse, so I can give you some adrenaline. And I've done this company, I founded this company because I love facts, I love sharing them, I love researching them, and I wanted to spread that passion to everybody else. And my hobbies are Everton and eating box. Who doesn't love it? I actually was thinking of making a new company, centered around eating box, but we'll skip past that. It's just, yeah. Right, who are we? Fun Fact Tuesdays as a company, we are a UK-based fact-finding company. We were founded in 2023, but we first started releasing facts to the public, to our client base, in 2025. We're a small team at the minute, it's just me right now, and our market is just a single group chat, all male, Northwest UK, but we are looking to expand that in the future, which is something that we'll get into later. And our team offers support for the entire life cycle of a fact, the fact work stream, which we'll get into now, for those who aren't already aware of it. Right, the fact work stream. Sorry if you guys already know this, but, it's good to just go through it now. So, F, in fact, is find. That's the initial research part, where we actually find the facts that we're going to show. A, analyse, we do some research, make sure that the fact is actually true before we give it to our client base. C, confer, we present the fact to all of you guys and then you give me your feedback. And T, think over, we take that feedback and we use that to, develop the company and to help us improve our facts in the future. Next slide, please. Right. I did say that there's going to be some generative AI in this presentation, so trigger warning, but not content warning if some people are a bit uncomfortable with generative AI. I am sorry, I understand the ethical implications of it stealing artists' work, and the effect on the environment as well. A lot of people don't know, but the water usage of generative AI is ridiculous. So, as I said in the original content warning, I've kept it as a minimum. So, let's get into it. This is the AI content. And that's us diving into... And that's us diving into facts. Right. So, this is the back end, if you will. All the data that we've got all pushed together in one big ugly fucking square. Oh, sorry, excuse me language. A big square, big table. But don't worry, we're going to go through this, a bit more zoomed in. So there's actually some useful information in this presentation. You don't need to remember this. There's not going to be a quiz at the end. Excuse me, guys. I'm just going to have a quick drink. So, some top level insights. The average score for the facts was 3.8, and the average number of viewers that we got was 5.72. And these are two charts here. The one on the left is ratings, the one on the right is number of voters. And then the orange line going straight as the baseline, the average. So I hope you guys can agree. But with ratings, I think you can definitely see an upwards climb. It's definitely positive towards the end of the year. We're getting things higher than the average quite a lot. But voters, it's up and down a lot. You know, you see at the end there, week 23, we had a bit of a stinker, which we'll get into later. Right, the high scorers. So these are the top 4 highest scoring facts, all 5 stars. We had the 1953 Drunken Grand Prix winner. I hope you guys remember that one. It was a banger. 6 voters. The Robert Miles children's song saved lives in the Italian rave scene. Again, another great fact, great song. 7 voters that one got. Slime mold's ability to recreate the Japan subway line despite not having the brain and being a single-celled organism. Insane, great fact. Only 4 voters though, unfortunately. And the Christmas final fact, 5 stars, 7 voters. You know, quite a good turnout for the end of the year. Was it worth 5 stars? You know, I'd like to think they're all worth 5 stars, but part of me thinks that was just, you know, you guys being nice because it was the end of the year, send off, you wanted to do something good, which I appreciate a lot. You know, we put a lot of work into this. And the most votes was the sunflower is not a flower. Which is true, yeah, but I think I added in the fact that it's the only flower with flower in its name, and that's not true at all. There's cornflower, there's a few more as well, so that was a load of shit. Apologise, we didn't do the fact work stream completely correct. We get it wrong every now and then, not often though. And I had 8 votes, the most votes. So, what do we learn from this? Well, all of these facts were long facts except the sunflower one, funnily enough. Oh no, there was another one. But all of them except one fact were long. There was one short one. And historical and science were by far the favourites with you guys. And we'll get into tag 3 soon. Doesn't matter now until later on. And interestingly, the only fact that was tagged as linguistic, which was the sunflower facts, obviously, that got the most votes. So, you know, maybe in the future we'll have more linguistic facts. It clearly has a good turnout. Okay, now the low scorers. We don't really like talking about these, but, you know, it's got to be done. So, Tony Iommi's Metal Fingers, the guitarist for Metallica, something like that. That only got two stars. You know, I'm not going to get into it. As I say, I think these are all 5 stars, but you guys are the final judge. The introvert and extrovert test with the lemon and the stick. I don't think I ever explained that. I left it vague on purpose. But again, something we'll get into later with that. That only got 4 votes, 2 stars. The US red flags in women and men. I thought that was a bit funny. That was 2.8 stars. You guys clearly didn't agree. And this one winds me up. Weasels are pets was a lie made up by a guy called A Weasel. I think that is a incredible fact, but it made it to the lowest. 3 stars, 5 votes. Who knows? Maybe you guys just weren't happy there. And the fewest voters was the other weasel fact. But, you know, keep this in mind for later. That most weasel are least weasel. Again, I thought that was quite funny, quite short and sweet, but again, apparently not. That only got 2 voters. So what do we learn from this? Well, I think the main thing is that audience, you guys, don't like short facts. Now you might think, well, that's obvious because we like the long facts, which is true, but, you know, maybe there was more of a range and long got high and low and short was like middling. But no, I think on average short facts tended to do worse by quite a lot. And then this is the tag 3 thing we were talking about on the previous slide, is that shocking, which was one of the third tags, had the widest range of all of them. It had 2 of the high scorers and 2 of the low scorers, which is mad. And funny, that was a bit all over the gaff. 2 low scorers, 1 high scorer. I don't think there's much correlation there. So yeah, we didn't learn much from tag 3, essentially. This is a little graph of shocking ratings throughout the weeks. And like I say, it's got a wide range, but it looks like it was on the up towards the back end of the year, which is a good sign. Complete coincidence, I think the fact that the line between week 21 and 23, the gradient of that matches the gradient of the trend line perfectly. It's just a bit interesting to look at. It doesn't mean anything, but yep. Oh, right. This is the nitty gritty now. We're getting into the, the bulk. So this is the number of voters overall throughout the entire experiment from week 1 to week 24. As you can see, not great. There was a bit of a decline in the trend line as we got carried on. Average score, a bit all over the gaff. So probably not wise to do a trend line here, but I did anyway, get on me. And the trend line was positive, which is a really good sign. It means that, we were doing something right. We were clearly listening and our facts are improving as we carried on throughout the year. And then this is the distribution of facts, tag 1, tag 2, tag 3. Hopefully you guys can see, but tag 1 was either short or long. We had longer facts. They turned out to be the more favourite ones. Tag 2, historical, coincidental, scientific and linguistic. Pretty fairly shared. Linguistic was only used once. And tag 3, exciting, funny, shocking and emotional. And as you can see, emotional was only tagged once. That was the one male death in the witch hunt in Salem, which I thought didn't fit in exciting, funny or shocking. It is emotional. But yeah, anyway. So let's get on to some case studies. So throughout the year, we've done a few multi-week studies to see how you guys react to different things, and see if we could utilise that to improve our facts in future or eliminate bad facts. Right. Study 1. I intentionally, sorry to mislead you guys, but there was actually 2 bad facts on the bounce 2 weeks in a row, and that was followed by 1 fact that I knew you guys would like. I wanted to see if the 2 bad facts would affect, viewer retention or scoring in the long term. So, the 2 bad facts, sunflowers aren't flowers. Cast your mind back to the high scorers. That one had the most voters. So, clearly I thought it was a bad fact that weren't going to get much love. Apparently I was wrong. And the introvert-extrovert lemon test. This one didn't get many votes. And it voted quite low, which I was expecting. It's a bit of a stinker fact. I didn't even explain it. I left it intentionally vague. And then on week 3, it was the 1953 Drunken Grand Prix winner fact. A long one, historical one, exciting one, funny as well. They got this guy drunk, and then he started giving them coffee to sober him up, and then he got too sober. He started getting the shakes, so he started giving them alcohol again. I thought that's, it's a really good fact. I knew you guys would like it. And again, if you've got good memory, that fact ends up being one of the high scorers. So I think that's good. It shows that bad facts, even if we have a run of bad facts, it doesn't really affect viewer retention, and it means we still get high scores. But yeah, as you can see there, the introvert-extrovert test, people were not a fan of that. Sorry I had to do it. It's a case study. I can't divulge information like that until times like here when the study's complete. Right, study 2. I'm sure you guys are all aware, you all know each other very well. You're primarily a Liverpool Football Club fan base. As you've seen in my About Me slide, I'm an Everton fan. But I wanted to see what had happened if I just dropped an Everton fact in there. I thought it was quite a good one. It was when Everton just ended Crystal Palace's unbeaten run. And the last time that happened, we ended up going on to win the Premier League. Pretty cool. In 1969, that was, as you can see on the slide. And surprisingly, that scored quite well. That got 4.3, which, that's already good. But something I want to show you is it actually could have been 5 stars. It could have been 5 stars, but we had 1 star there. And I think we all know who that is. This guy right here. The voting's meant to be anonymous, and it typically is, so don't worry, all your feedback is anonymous. But when it feels like people are intentionally trying to sabotage what we're trying to do here. I just really don't appreciate that. And I've just made another little graph here, as you can see. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 voters? Everyone on the 5 line, you know, were flying. And then who's that down here? It's him. So, yeah, it's just a shame, really, isn't it? But that's the nature of the industry. You know, we do what we can, but you're always going to get some trolls. Excuse me, sorry. Right. The third and final case study was the Weasel Fact event. This was 2 Weasel Facts over 2 weeks, 2 weeks in a row. The first fact, most weasel or least weasel, banger fact in my opinion. And the second fact is the fact that weasels were not pets, and that was a lie made by someone called A. Weasel. Banger fact again, in my opinion. But if you guys remember, both of these were on the low scorers, so you guys were not fucking with these weasel facts apparently. Language again, I'm so sorry. You guys weren't messing with the weasel facts. And the most weasel, least weasel fact, that got 2 votes. You know, that was a really dark day at Fun Fact Tuesdays. The average is what? 5 I think it's around 6, just under 6. So to get 2, it was quite demoralising, and especially on a fact that I thought was quite robust. But it's just what happens, isn't it? Like, you've just got to brush off your shoulders, get back to it. And, you know, after this, it was a Christmas fact, and that ended up being on the high scorers. It was a 5-starer. So, you know, this was a bit of a shame. It was a study I thought was going to go well. We ended up getting 2 low scorers from it. But after that, we bounced right back to the Christmas fact, which is, you know, swings and roundabouts, guys. This is for the, you know, the Excel nerds. I hope you aren't offended by that. I'm so sorry. Let me just have another drink. The Excel moguls, eh? Anyway, this is just how we got the raw data and we got the information from it. So, as you've seen before, big table of all the information, and then this was a separate sheet. The average score, it's an average if, and then it calls on the initial table, the tag 1 column. It finds any cell with the value of short or long respectively, and then it was the score of that as well. So table 1, average score column. So it'll go through, it'll find any row that has short in that specific cell, and then it'll sweep on over to the score, and it'll find out what that score is, and then it takes an average of that. Pretty useful. And then the number of facts column, very simple. Count if, go to that column. Is that column short or long? And whatever it is, if it's short, then you add 1. If it's long, you add 1 to the other one. Pretty simple stuff, but yeah, pretty cool. And we still have the raw Excel sheet. I'll have to speak to, you know, some people to see if we can release that to you guys, because it is technically, I wouldn't say it's confidential, but, you know, our industry depends on confidentiality and things like that. So I suppose it'd be in confidence, maybe. It doesn't matter. I'll speak to our dot control about releasing it, if anyone's interested in it, of course. Right. What is next for Fun Fact Industries? Fun Fact Tuesday Industries, sorry. So I think over this Christmas period now, what we're going to do is take a step back, and we're going to assess the market and the client hunger, if we can carry on Fun Fact Tuesday in 2026, because it's not an issue with us. We love facts, as you know. We love sharing them. It's just, do our client base want the facts? You know, we want to make sure that it's actually economically feasible for us to do this. And, you know, it was a bit tough after the Weasel facts. I was like, I guess this is it. It's run its course. But then Christmas bounced back, so you never know. Expanding our expanding our base, our client base. So I've been telling my girlfriend some facts, and she's been telling her mates in work. So you know, we're expanding to other genders. You know, women. So yeah, there's that. You know, see where we can take it. Let's go to the moon, guys. You know, that's all I want to do. And you know, quite exciting little Christmas gift for everyone. We already have new facts ready. So I'm going to be very careful here. All blurred out, but you know, please don't be taking this outside the presentation and trying to unblur it. You know, we'll both get in trouble. Let's not be doing that. But yeah, we already have, I think that's 5 facts there, and there's 6 ones just not written down. So there's 6 weeks already, guys. Just really exciting, you know. Just need to see what happens in the new year. So that is the end of the presentation. Do you guys have any questions? Thank you.